Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, the Monday night Zoom edition, and Bitcoin just kind of putzed around after the drop on Thursday night, hanging around 22.3, 22.5, mostly sideways. Let's go to the chart and check it out. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart. Can I get
Yes.
a witness? Thank you.
Yep.
Yep.
And this is what I'm talking about. We had this big drop on Thursday, actually Friday morning, and then sideways the rest of the time. So that was kind of a bummer for those of us in long positions. We were hoping to see a pump up to 25K. We still have not had a close above 25K, which seems to be at this 24.5 area. 25 seems to be pretty strong at resistance at this time. And we got to break through before most of these coins, or before Bitcoin and Ethereum really do much. Some of the altcoins have had some decent moves for day trading, 2, 3, 5%. I've had some luck with those, but overall we're just kind of in accumulation zone. Anyone care to comment about Bitcoin before I bounce over to Ethereum? All right, Ethereum again, kind of towards the middle top of the channel that we've been in for quite a while. Since the summer in June, between 1,000 and 2,000. Been bouncing around 1,500, 1,700 seems to be the major barrier for Ethereum, kind of like 25K is for Bitcoin. We've had some minor FUD here and there in the news, but nothing too drastic that I can think of. Anyone else want to chime in on the news and or their predictions or explanations for the current status of Bitcoin and Ethereum in the market overall?
I wouldn't go any longs right now.
Yeah, I've got some low buy orders in. I know this is mostly day trading, but I do try to hold some tokens I really like, the basics, the majors, Bitcoin, Ethereum, also trying to get positions in Matic and Atom. So part of me wants just one day to drop down and grab some of those low buy orders I have and then to shoot up. That would be ideal. Of course, I might wreck some other positions, but the market's going to do what the market's going to do regardless of what I do. So it's one of the
Well, of
first
course,
lessons of
we had
trading.
that big Silvergate debacle, which was huge, combined with the fact that interest rates are definitely climbing. They're expected to be climbing for possibly at least the first half of the year, if not throughout the whole year. That's up for grabs. So there's a lot of unknowns. So the stock market is struggling, and therefore we're struggling here.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Silvergate was a crypto friendly or a crypto entire bank. I know it had a lot of crypto holdings, but it couldn't put out um, a report of some kind required by the government, and that caused problems.
They also didn't have enough money to cover a lot of money. There were major exchanges that used them for clearing, including Coinbase.
Yep.
Partially. So everybody has disassociated themselves with them. So they were already in trouble. And then when all these big exchanges stopped using them, like on a dime, that put them even further in trouble.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Robert. It's a little more than I knew. So anything else on the market overall before we look to see if we can find some trades? Okay. I do want to emphasize a change to my charts. Most of you guys are used to seeing something like this. And I added or at least I provided as an option this tool here, support and resistance levels with breaks. I talked about this last week, This is the Lux Algo free option if you're struggling with how to identify a support and resistance. And I talk about that a lot in my videos. I use it a lot in my trading. This tool can help you. This is, where you find that, the indicator, type in support and resistance. It'll look like the support and resistance levels with breaks, like it's algo. Over 14,000 people have downloaded it. And if you click that, you'll get something like this. In the blue is support, and the red, is resistance. And I combine that with my supertrend. It's one of the strategies I'm testing in and of itself. But here's a perfect example on this Ren trade. The super trend goes off. It's towards the bottom. It's just a little bit above support, which is the perfect place to get in. I've got my other indicators for confirmation here. Momentum trending up. Stochastic is crossed. So again, that was a really good trade. Had I been
Hey,
up at 5
CJ,
a.m., I would have taken it, but it's just an example.
how high would that buy go up before you would decide not to take it?
I'm usually, if I have both of these showing at the moment, I'm looking to get below halfway.
Below halfway. Okay.
Yeah, so in this example, between the two, we have about 7.5%. So 3.25. Yeah, I'd be looking right about here.
Are you looking at the opening of the candle or the closing of the candle?
Just wherever it is at the time. I'm not that rigid on it, but
All right.
again, it's not carved in stone. It's something I'm testing. But by showing you this, I really wanted to emphasize, this indicator and support and resistance. So,
All right.
all right. So let's go over to Altcoin Alert and see what we can find. I'm on the altcoin radar. Actually, I got a new guy here, so I should slow this down. When I go into Altcoin Alert, you probably see something like this dashboard, and it's got, this is a short term. You can click on long term. To be candid, I don't look at any of this. I go over to Altcoin Radar, and I'm going to use Altcoin Alert to help me find coins to watch throughout the day, to put alerts on to help me get good entries. So if I click on the radar, it's going to show by volume, which isn't really how I want to sort it. The first thing I'm going to do is sort by the AA score. So I'm looking for values 80 or higher. If the market's kind of trending down, like it has been the last few days, I'll fudge a little and take something in the high 70s. We have Ocean Protocol here, which is something I like to trade anyway, 79.2. And what AA is telling us is Ocean has a 79.2% chance to go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. So that's, to me, worthy of further investigation. I've got the Ocean chart up. Let me go to the 5-minute chart, which is the first one I look at. And I'm going to look for a dip sequence. It's the first thing I'm going to look at. If I see something that's in a dip sequence now, then I might take that trade. This is an example here where we've got a squeeze and then it bubbles out. If you're on this Zoom and you get my emails, you should have gone through the 1, 2, 3 dip training that iCoinPro provides, and that'll help you understand the setup. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then this is where I would look to get in. And I'm looking at support and resistance as where to get out. I see some resistance here in this area. So 2% is probably where I would look to get out. And if I get lucky, I get out here 8 hours later when this wick shoots up. Or if I miss, if that doesn't trigger my take profit, I probably get out here, another 7, 8 hours later. So that's a 1, 2, 3 dip setup that eventually plays out in profit. These are the kind of trades I'm looking for. You get that 2, 3, 4%, maybe 5%. But we don't have that set up at the moment, but we do have a dip sequence forming. We have the Bollinger Band starting to bubble out here in a little bit of a squeeze. So it's not perfect, but it looks like it is forming. And the stochastic RSI is down low here, and the MACD is starting to trend down. So these are showing that we could be getting a dip sequence in the near future. But I don't want to sit around and watch the 5-minute candles. So what I like to do is there's a couple things you can do. One is you can look for support and set a price alert there. Now I'm seeing support on the 5-minute chart. Some multiple touches right here. See how all these coins or all these candles gather in this area? That's what we call support. I'll mark it with a line to be more specific or more visual. Right about here at 39 cents. So we're pretty close to that already. I suspect if we do get a dip sequence, it'll drop below that. So there's some secondary support down here. This one down. 38.7, that might be the place to set a price alert and then reevaluate. So I'm going to get rid of this line. If I want to set alert 38.7 cents or $0.387, I can right click here on the chart, add alert, and probably get rid of that. And the alert name, I usually like to put my information source. So it's going to be an AA score purchase. I'm finding this from an AA score. Then I click create, and then I've got my price alert. So that's the easiest way to try to get a good entry. I mean, you could just do a market order now and take your chances. If you don't want to wait for the dip sequence, you could also put in a low buy order. It's a little risky, but at 38, 38 and a half, 38.75, whatever. And hope that the candle dips down, grabs your limit order, and then shoots back up. But what I like to do is put alerts on indicators on the 15-minute chart. This is what I talk about most in my Zoom calls. So I'm going to reset
It looks pretty
this.
good on the 15-minute chart.
Yeah, let's check it out. There's a few different indicators I like to use. If I'm trying to catch a trend, I like supertrend. And I do tweak the settings a little bit. The ATR period, I believe, is 10 on this one. I drop it to 5. There's another version of the super trend where it's 22. And again, you get these indicators the same place. Type in super trend. And this one by Kivan Ozub, whatever that is. I think that's the version that's 10 on the ATR, and this is the one that's 22, the one by Evergrande. Doesn't really matter. And you can try different ATR periods to see what you like the best. Dropping to 5 makes it a little less sensitive. Thought it made it more sensitive, but it makes it less. So let's look at the past values of the super trend and see if this was giving us winning trades. Now, if you're new to trading, if you're new to day trading, you should probably just trade spot, which means you should just be looking for buy signals on the super trend. This buy signal on Ocean did really well. 7% there. This one, not as well. Got like almost a 1%, then it dropped, and you'd be a negative on that one at the moment. That buy signal caught that pump. And this buy signal did okay. It took a while, but 5%, that's an outstanding day trade. So, and if you've been spot trading for a while and you want to trade on leverage, so go buys and shorts, that's what I do. We have a few pretty good sell signals here. This one did okay. Dropped to 1.5%, and then hang in there a little longer. It drops 5%. So that's a really good short. I should match up. I'm using stochastic RSI and this impulse MACD for confirmation. So for example, on this one, you get the sell signal. It's trending down pretty hard. The orange line has crossed the stochastic, and the I forgot that the MACD is trending down. Let's put it that way. The signal, that's the word. The signal line, which is the orange line, is crossing the MACD line, which is the blue. So that's a pretty good setup, and then that worked out pretty well eventually. On that buy
Could you turn
signal,
on the super trend indicator for a second,
it
please?
is on.
It is?
Yeah, you should be seeing
Which
sell, buy, sell, buy.
isn't it the eyeball turned off right by super trend there?
No, that's by the 50x
Oh,
scalper, which is
okay.
a paid indicator I use
Gotcha.
for a different setup. Okay. So if you like what you see on the super trend and you want to set an alert on it, it's really easy. Right click on the icon here, or you can go over here and click on the three dots, add alert on super trend. And if you're trading spot, you're just going to go with your buy alert. Once per bar close will trigger at the end of the candle. So you'll have alerts going off on the 15 minutes. And that's what I like. That also keeps the alert on all day until you turn it off. The alert name again is going to be, I like to use AA score or whatever, wherever I got this, the information source. And then, yeah, create. And if you want to trade leverage and go both directions, then instead of super trend buy, you go direction change. And this is the one I usually have on. Once per bar close, AA score purchase. I already got 7 alerts set, so I'm not going to go with this one at the moment. But so that's how you do super trend. Now, if you're a contrarian or you're looking for a better way to find a dip trade, is to use divergence. That's this indicator here. And divergence is a disagreement between candle action and the indicator. And this is a little more advanced. If you're new, I didn't trade divergence till I'd been trading for nearly 2 years. So I've been doing this for about a year or so now. But if you're, I say, an intermediate trader or more advanced, you may want to look into divergence because it has some predictive ability. It's far from perfect, but as you can see from these, from the charts, it's done a pretty good job at predicting when the market's going to change direction. This is a bit misleading because this does what we call repaint, which means if it gets new information, it'll change. So it makes backtesting difficult. That's why I like this multiple divergence non-repaint for confirmation. And then these confirmations will not help you on divergence because it's going against the trend. So as you can see, this one here triggered. It'll tell you how many indicators are divergent and which one it is. OBV is on balance volume. Stochastic is kind of like this. MOM is momentum. RSI, or relative strength index. So there's lots of indicators out there. So when this one goes off, I'm going to look to see if there's prior evidence of a bullish divergence, and there was one here a little while ago. And then this one goes, 2.4%, which is pretty good. 2.5%, 12 to 15 hours. So that's a pretty good day trade. This one, 2.3%. So obviously this one here did really well. But some of these don't always do that well. I was trying to show you an example of one that did poorly, but all these did really well, or it just makes a small move like this one here, 1%. But yeah, divergence it can be really effective, and it can give a lot of fake signals. So none of these indicators are perfect. On this one, okay, and here's how you find it. Type in divergence, And this is the one I like, mini indicators version 4 and this non-repaint. These are the two divergence indicators I use. And then, unfortunately, the non-repaint is not that not alert friendly, but the other one is. So divergence for many indicators. It doesn't have something that switches like the supertrend does. So you have to set 2 of them if you're going to trade both directions, either negative or positive. And there you go on divergence. Okay. Any questions on divergence or supertrend? We're going to look at RSI and then we'll move on to another coin. Another place I like to put alerts is the stochastic RSI. That's this one here. And on a long position, I want the blue line to come up and cross. I want to dip below this value here, 20, and then cross back up. So I want to dip and I want it to see evidence of a recovery. And so you can set alerts on this too. I'll show you how in a moment. I'm going to use this vertical line to show you where they cross. Okay, we have a dip here and then a cross back up. So you probably would have gotten in here. It dips about 3% and then takes off. So that's a good trade. You can also see this and then bounce over to your 5-minute chart to see if a 1, 2, 3 dip is forming over there. It's just kind of difficult to do that at the moment. I tried to do it before on other Zooms. It gets a little messy. And let's see, the next one I don't think that one quite crosses over, but this one does. So that's another pretty good entry there on the long side. Yeah, 4%, we like that. Another cross in recovery here. Did not go as well as I would hope. You go up about 0.5%, then you drop down and you go mostly sideways. So you'd still be in that trade probably after, a little over a day. If you want to use the RSI, it's a little easier to understand than say divergence or and some of the other indicators. Right click on the RSI. You want the K line to be crossing the D line, or no, actually we want to cross up. Different strategy. Value, we want to cross up 20. Once per bar close, we'll keep it on all day, and AA score. That's how you do that. So 20 is this value down here that's considered oversold. So when something oversolds, you generally assume that it will come back up. So that's why we cross above 20. So it won't trigger when it dips below, but it will trigger when it's coming back and in recovery mode. For confirmation, you might want to wait for the MACD to cross. It doesn't cross till you get about here. And that would have been a better entry. It's usually not a good idea to rely on just one indicator. You should have a couple of them for confirmation, but even that's far from perfect. So let's see, got a question in the chat. Can you set alerts on the buy signal on the super trend? Yes, Tom, you can. So let's bring the super trend back. And I think I may have confused Tom because I was showing that you can do, I like to do direction change, but if you're trading spot, you should just go with buy. Once per bar close, then you're good. If you're trading spot, this is the one to use. Okay, well, I think that covers Ocean. Any questions on this one before we move on? Okay.
Question on super trend.
Yeah, I heard you say super trend. What would you like to know?
Well, I find many times on the 15-minute chart when it triggers, you've pretty much missed the opportunity. What's your thought on that?
Well, if you want to catch it earlier, you need to use divergence or the dip sequence. So super trend is trend based, which means a trend has to be established first. So it's not going to trigger, like this buy isn't going to trigger until it sees evidence of this upward move here. So if the move is strong, you'll get something like this, and it'll be a great trade. If the move is weak, like this one, it'll go up a little bit, crap out, and then now you're sideways and negative. So it's like I said, you can't totally rely on them, and even if they work the way they're supposed to, sometimes they're you're not always gonna have a good trade. So it's the best system we got for the moment.
Have
But
you
yeah,
ever tried to use it on a 5-minute chart, CJ?
yeah, but it just gets a little too busy. Of course, I say that, and then a bunch of wins show up on, on the example I show. But I have in the past, and there's nothing wrong with using that. I've messed around with the 10 and even the 3, and things like that. And of course, it looks perfect on this 3-minute chart right now. But yeah, if you want to use it on shorter time frames and see how you're doing after, say, 2 to 4 weeks, let me know. I'm not proud. I'll switch over. But
Just a question, because I've noticed I use that super trend, but many times when it triggers on the 15, I'm looking at it going, no, I think I dismissed this one.
yeah.
CJ, you should do the super trend bad trades
Oh yeah.
on the 3 minutes. Just
Okay,
create
that
a
move.
file.
Yeah, Twan's talking about something from our friends at Carbon. We'll talk about that some in the next Zoom call. But yeah, that one's I'm testing a strategy to go against all my instincts, and it's working really well. But I'm pretty sure it's a fluke. Anyway,
Bad trades is the 3-minute chart, CJ.
well, Twan's suggesting I use a 3-minute chart instead of the 15 for what I'm doing on that strategy. But I don't
Okay.
want to talk about it here because I'm going to confuse people who are new
I'm
to
sorry.
this. But yeah, we can explore that in the next call. All right, so I'm going to get over to Altcoin Alert. I'm running way late, so I'll do one more trade out of Altcoin Alert, one more analysis, and then we'll head over to iCoinPro. Okay, the other sort I like to use, we looked at AA score, is this long-term sentiment. And the sentiment score is what people are talking about online, Twitter data, which is one of the services that's most valuable about Altcoin Alert. We get Twitter data from the the data company, and then I like to match that up with Elder Impulse Daily, which is a technical indicator, a combination of them. So again, you can hover over this question mark and it'll tell you what these are. And then what I like to do is sort either by Elder Impulse or long-term sentiment, match those up. I mostly sort by long-term sentiment. And what I want to see is a match between these two. And I'm not seeing one until I go down here to MX token. I don't know what that is. Maker is, I've been trading that the last week quite a bit. So bullish on long-term sentiment, bullish on Elder Impulse. So let's check it out. It's on my list, 5-minute chart. See if we're in a dip sequence at the moment. No, we've got a squeeze coming here, but it's towards the top of the Bollinger Band. So we don't have a dip sequence forming at the moment. Did have a bit of a dip. This thing was pumping over the weekend some. Had this really nice move on Sunday. I was trading it yesterday a little bit. And it gave a lot of that back. So not really seeing a setup at the moment. And we're pretty close to, I mean, it does have some pretty good support right here at about 908. So that might be a place to put an alert, but it probably would not be a full dip sequence. Could be a bounce. Let's get over to the 15-minute chart, see if we have some Reset that. Let's look at super trend. I caught that buy alert on Saturday night, did really well. 11% move. Then it gave some of that back Sunday morning, actually Sunday afternoon. Dropped about 2.5. This buy triggered. Yeah, almost 2%, and then it fell. So the sells have done better than the buys on super trend. So if you're trading leverage, the sells look pretty good. Okay, on divergence. These bullish ones didn't do very well until we got this move here. So if you took this one on Sunday night, went sideways, went up a little bit. Might have gotten profit here if you use this area of resistance as your exit. 2.6% is pretty good day trade. And then here's another entry. And you'd probably still be in that one, up about 0.5%. Obviously, this one did really well on Saturday afternoon. And this short did not. Show you an example of what happens when it goes against you. This one, almost 1%, then you get this kind of move here. So you're probably gonna get stopped out on that. When I've been live trading, I've been using stop losses on shorts, but additional purchases or ladder buys on longs. And if you want to learn what ladder buying is, that's like dollar cost averaging. We've got videos from 2021 that I did on this technique. You might want to sort, my my YouTube channel and find those if you're curious. Don't have time to go through it today, but I do like ladder buying in certain markets to avoid losses and save trades that have gone against me. And sometimes you actually even make more money that way. Okay, so that's divergence. And the other one is RSI. And we have a cross here. That one did really well. The cross here, that one did well. Same movement pretty much. Another one here, a little better entry. Like this one would have been a fake out, but we don't really have confirmation. We have the RSI trending up, but the MACD here trending down. So I probably would not have taken that one. We got this one here. RSI going up, again, MACD trending down. Probably don't take that one. Again, RSI, stochastic RSI trending up, but MACD going sideways. Not encouraging. And we got this one here where they're in disagreement. So, this one here, some of these were, this one here, I might have waited for some confirmation on this. Actually, let me look at this real quick. So we get the cross back here, but the MACD does not agree. So what you can do is set a confirmation alert on this other indicator. So right click here, add an alert on the impulse MACD. You want the MACD line crossing the signal. So the regular MACD is a little easier to use. I've been using this impulse MACD for a while, try to see if I can get better results. So the configuration on the alert's a little trickier. You might want to, if you're watching on the replay, you might want to go back and see what I chose. But it's the impulse MACD line, which is the blue one, and the signal, which is the orange line. You want the MACD to cross above the signal, actually crossing up, be more specific. and then you're good to go. You only need one cross for confirmation. And that's what I call this alert, confirmation alert. So that cross happens right here. So you probably get in on this candle. The entrance, it's a little delayed. So the entrant, Oliver was frustrated at supertrend, not getting us in quick enough. When you use a confirmation alert, you're going to be delayed a little bit, but it's better than having something go against you. Again, not perfect. Sometimes the confirmation won't help you, but anyway, we do what we can with what we have. Okay, any questions on the stochastic RSI? Actually, let me show you how to do an alert real quick. K line crossing the 20. Crossing up, actually, on the 20 is how we do that. You can go once per bar close if you want to keep it on all day. Okay, any questions on Altcoin Alert? Or any of the trades setup I've talked about before I go to iCoinPro? Okay. iCoinPro, home of the 1, 2, 3 dip trade. And there's two tools I like to use, the RSI Spy and the Buddy Coin Crawler. I usually check the Fear and Greed Index too real quick. But it's not cooperating. Oh, great. It's going to freeze on me. That's all I need. All right, we are at neutral. That's not that helpful. So RSI Spy, I'm going to sort by the RSI. This is the 1 hour RSI. We've been looking at the 15-minute and the 5-minute charts. This is the 1 hour. If I see a value below 30 or in the low 30s, that's something I might want to look at. That's considered the oversold area on the RSI. And it was 20 on the stochastic that we were looking at earlier. On the regular RSI, the oversold area is considered 30. But we've only got one, and it's a Bitcoin pair. I wish I could filter out Bitcoin pairs because I don't like to trade them, but we don't have that luxury here. We do have Cardano at 36. It's a little higher than I usually look at. But for the sense of illustration, I'll go ahead and use that. It's got this drop-down menu here, and it'll take me to the 5-minute chart of whatever strategy I'm looking at. I click Trading View. And here we go on the 5-minute chart on ADA. And here's a dip sequence here that kind of went sideways. It's like another one starting, potentially. Got a squeeze here and then starting to bubble out a little bit. But we got a ways to go on this one. Let's go over to the 15-minute chart, use our indicators. Okay, super trend. It's not done well on the buy side at all. So I see something just trending down like this. I'll squeeze it together and get an idea of where it's been going lately. Might look at the 1 hour chart, the 4 hour to get an idea of the big picture. It's been trending down pretty hard. Yeah, we're down 20%. About the last 2 to 3 weeks. All right, let's get back to the 15-minute. Yeah, these the sells have done well if you're trading leverage, but the buys have not on super trend. Let's see if divergence has been better. No, it's just trending down. So really none of these are going to help you find real good entries. This one here. Went down a half and got 0.8. I'm a little for a better profit than that. If you got in on this, you got 1.5, that's not bad. Again, it's just the coin overall, it's just not doing that well. Super trend. Yeah, it's going to be the same story. So, I mean, not super trend, but stochastic RSI. Yeah, none of these are looking that good. So I don't know. I probably just not on the spot side, just wouldn't trade this. And then on the leverage side, I'd probably short it. But I use a stop loss in case it, hits we have kind of support right about here around 33 cents, which is where we are right now. It could bounce off this and go up. So short could be a little dangerous. You might want to wait till it breaks through. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. Yeah, there's you can see the support here right around 33 cents. Might want to wait till it breaks through, say 31 cents, before you short this, if you really want to short it. Okay.
Hey,
Any
CJ.
questions on Cardano? Go ahead, Nathan.
So what are your MACD that you're using? That's it's a lazy bear, but it's like iMACD.
Yeah, it's an Impulse MACD is what it is. I don't know if it's by lazy. I think it is by him.
And what's the impulse aspect of it?
It's supposed to be smoother. Like you see how we got the sideways action where there's no, it's supposed to like calm this down, and when you see this kind of sideways action, you don't trade is the idea. It's supposed to keep you be more useful in keeping out of bad trades. It's supposed to show bigger movements better. In theory, that's the video I watched anyway. So again, I'm not necessarily saying you should use it yet. I've only been using it for about 3 weeks now, but I was looking
I'm
for.
used to seeing like an RSI on the MACD,
Mhm.
and I'm seeing you get the RSI on a stochastic RSI above,
Right.
and it's showing a very different movement between the two different charts. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening in one and the other.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you want for confirmation. You don't want, indicators that are going to do the same thing. So, I mean, you even might want to add a momentum or a volume indicator or something like that on here. I've tried having like, 6, 7, 8 indicators, and it just gets to be a mess. And I found my results weren't much better anyway. So that's why I'm trying to, stochastic RSI, you got like strength of cycle, and I hope I'm remembering these right. With MACDs, more of a momentum, and you could go with Heikin-Ashi candles and get a better idea of the trend. I can usually just see the trend though. This is clearly trending down. So yeah, it's if
Well,
those of you
that's why I'm interested in what you're doing with the MACD there, because it's actually two separate charts using different indicators instead of just the same lines that look the same. So it's interesting to me that you could actually have the MACD in a different cycle than the stochastic is, and you're looking for them to agree instead of always agreeing all the time. So it's good. I'm just
yeah.
curious as to what it is.
Well, I found my prior confirmation candles on this layout or indicators on this layout were in agreement all the time, and that's not useful. So
What about
that's why
MFI? Are you not using that anymore?
I have gotten away from that because it's too similar to the RSI. So they probably agree 90+% of the time is my experience. So I would suggest using one or the other for confirmation, either the MFI or the RSI. But using them both is probably, they're too similar. The
Hey,
MFI is
CJ,
the money flow index or indicator.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Oliver.
I was just gonna there's some really good YouTube videos on the Impulse MACD, and there's a couple of strategies that are pretty helpful if you wanted to watch those videos.
Yeah, I watched a couple, and I was trading off a strategy with the Impulse MACD and did really poorly with it. But
Yeah.
Um,
With that one video, you have to customize it for every coin, so it gets kind of
Yeah.
tedious.
yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean there. So yeah, so if you do a Google search on, or either Google or YouTube search on Impulse MACD, you want to learn more about it, there's some videos about it.
Can I
And
ask you one
strategies you
more
can use.
kind of dumb question?
Well, no, I don't want dumb questions. Go ahead.
Well, have you ever set alerts on the support and resistance with breaks?
No, because it only uses
Or
breaking,
broken resist, yeah, breaking or yeah.
but it intrigues me because the strategy that Tuan alluded to kind of does that. Um, Even though I'm just eyeballing it, but getting
Wouldn't it
at
be cool if
or
you could
near. Go
set an
ahead.
alert for when it touches a line? That would be really cool.
Well, yeah, you could, just set a price alert parallel to it, like right here, add an alert because that's right where it is.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so, but what he's talking about is the only alert options it gives are breaking these supports or breaking these resistance. What if you want, um, you just want to know when it happens and then goes back up. Like I'd like to do one that crosses up, maybe touches or goes down like this one here. It just went down a little bit and then crossed back up. Like that would be, something interesting to me. All right, let's look at the chat. Tom's asking, on a 5x, where would you put your stop loss? Again, I generally use support and resistance to determine where I get out of trades. That's why I suggested you guys, if you can't really see that, then go with this this indicator and it'll help you with that. Like this situation here where if you buy in when this triggers, this would have been something this area right here I would have considered for my exit, because I see a bunch of candles conglomerated here. And I would have been 2 hours, 5%. It's a great day trade. So that's a pretty good example of how I would do that. Oh God, I'm running late. Okay,
Hey,
I'll do.
CJ, a quick general question. Sorry.
All right.
Do you later in a trade, when you're in a trade for a little bit, ever revisit the chart and then change your exit point based on the new indicators, current
Yeah,
indicators?
it's a good question. I can actually move the market that way. So it's another one of my trader superstitions. But let's say I've set this like I just showed you guys as my exit point, and instead of charging towards it, it putzes around sideways and then drops down. And I've
Right.
been in the trade for a day or two, then I might change my take profit from like 5% down to 3. And then of course, it'll charge through the 3%, go up to 10%. But yeah, that's what I usually do. And because I have new information now, I've got, before I only had this, and now I've got a day more of information and the market's changed. So I think it's reasonable to set a different take profit if your first one isn't triggered after a reasonable amount of time, which for me is usually 24 to 48 hours.
Thank
Good
you.
question though. All right, I am going to do one more iCoinPro and then we'll head over to we'll wrap it up. All right, so that's the RSI SPY. You can also sort it this way to look for coins to short. These are coins that are overbought. And XMR is something I've shorted today. And this Ren trade you just saw, I've traded this a couple times too in the last few days. But I don't have time to go through one of these because I want to show you the Buddy Coin Crawler. Now in iCoinPro, they talk about Buddy coins. That's going through your information sources and your indicators and your charts choosing 3 or 4 coins to follow throughout the day. For me, I'm going to choose probably 5 to 7 and then put alerts on like I just showed you guys. And those are going to be my buddy coins for the day. I may look again in the evening or late afternoon and change my mind about some things, but I generally follow those, for my trading day, which for me is roughly 7 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. That doesn't mean I'm staring at the chart. I just have the alerts on. If I'm watching TV and an alert goes off, I'll look on my phone, and if something looks interesting, I'll bounce over to my computer and check it out. All right, Buddy Coin Crawler, I'm sorting by the average low to SMA, and the low is a 24-hour low. SMA is that red line between the green lines you've seen on my charts. It's a simple moving average, and I'm looking for values about 4% or higher, and I don't really have much in the way of that at the moment. Yeah, there are not any coins here that I'm familiar with, so I spent that time explaining it, and now I got nothing to look at. Well, I'll look at something new just for example. Liquidity. Trading view. It's on Binance. All right. I use Binance charts because it's the biggest exchange, even though I don't trade on it anymore. But that's the one I learned on back when you could get on with a VPN. All right, let's look at the 5-minute, and kind of in no man's land near the SMA line. Again, just going sideways at the moment. Let me go through this pretty quickly here. On my indicator, supertrend. This one did really well. This one did eventually. Went up 3%. We like that. Then went up almost 15%. I don't know if you can short this, so I don't know if the sell's really useful at the moment. But the buys look pretty good on the super trend. On divergence, bullish divergence. These went mostly sideways until this big pump. We had another mini pump here. More than a mini, it was 10%. This one was pretty good too, caught almost 4%. But again, this is probably going to be a spot trade only, not a leverage involved. So divergence looks pretty good on the long side, on the bullish side. Stochastic. Not confirmed by MACD. Also unconfirmed. I don't think we get another cross till here. They're not in agreement again. So RSI is not, and the MACD are not playing well together. Also not confirmed. Don't really get a good movement till this one here. So it crosses here. Confirmation is right about here. Well, that's probably a few percent. And the rest are not confirmed either. So that did not go so well. So it looks like just the divergence was the best way to go on this one. All right, guys. Well, that's about all I have for my trading Zoom call. Sorry it went so long. I had some new folks in, so I had to explain things a little more than usual, and I still went fast. But at least I felt like it.
I still enjoyed it.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. So I'm going to wrap it up here. If you're watching on the recording, I appreciate that. Hope to see you live on next Friday or Monday. Check out the opportunities listed in the pinned comment to help support the channel. If you are in carbon, stick around. We have a lot to talk about. We'll do that one next. Bye.
Quick last thing. I took that ocean trade.
You did.
And I just closed it out at 18% profit at a 25x. Thank you.
Sweet. Glad I could help. Bye, guys.